Hey, what's going on everybody? Today on the channel we got another little bit of a throwback kind of review for you today. We are taking a look here at the Game Boy Advance SP. So this is my own personal Game Boy that I got way back in 2003 when this thing was released, and I've had it ever since, and I still can use it today, which is pretty cool. So we're going to see what it's like to use one of these old school handheld gaming consoles in 2023. So let's go ahead and talk a little bit about this particular model. So this is not a special edition or anything, it's just a normal silver one. Nothing special here with this Game Boy Advance. There were a lot of special edition ones that you could get though, and you can look on eBay and different websites today and you can see that some people are trying to sell them for a pretty penny. I think I saw a yellow Pikachu edition going for $1,400, which I'm not sure that's really that rare, but I think there's one from Japan or something like that that is a little bit rare. But anyways, the Game Boy Advance SP. So what does the SP stand for? Well, it stands for special. That's what it stands for. And this is the successor to the Game Boy Advance. So the Game Boy Advance was obviously, it was still a handheld console, but it was certainly not a open and closed kind of clamshell design like the Advance SP is. Also, something with the SP model is finally they added in the backlit screen. So this allows you to play your Game Boy in the dark or a low lit area. And the cool thing with this Advance SP is that there is still a backlight button here. So if you want to be like the old Game Boy, you can actually turn the backlighting on or off here with that button. Now, since we're talking about the screen here, well, don't get too excited because, well, it's not a very impressive screen by today's standards. However, back in then, this was a really impressive display. This SP model is very compact. It's easy to hold in your hands, and for somebody like me who has bigger hands, I'm still pretty impressed that you're able to game with it so easily and access the trigger buttons on the back and all that good stuff. So in-hand feel is pretty nice. You have all your typical controls for a Game Boy, your D-pad, your A and B buttons, and then start and select, and then of course your two trigger buttons on the back here. Nothing crazy, but that is all you need. Very simple to use and operate your Game Boy. Overall as well, the device is not really a thick device. It might look a little thick when it's sitting there on the table, but it's not really a huge device. It's not also a very heavy device, so this is really easy to transport with you. You can basically slip this thing in your pocket and you'll be good to go. So very nice design here. It's a unique design. It's something that we'll never see again probably, because most handheld consoles are kind of no more. I mean, we don't really have any except the Nintendo Switch out there, which is probably the main one from Nintendo right now. And yeah, just such a unique design here with the Game Boy. Performance wise, well, believe it or not, today this is still a pretty solid performing machine. Now, don't expect to be blown away with any graphics or things like that, but really when you are playing a game, and you're probably going to see me playing a lot of Super Mario here in these videos, but I know these games aren't very graphic intensive games, but you have to admit, for a console from this time period that's this old, even today, it's still very smooth. It's really smooth to operate a game. There's not any lag whatsoever in these. So it's just really nice to see how smooth these games still are. And most games that you play on here, they load very, very quickly. And some games have worse graphics than others. I mean, you can clearly tell when you're playing a bad game compared to a game that's a little bit better. But hey, there's really nothing to complain about because, well, this is kind of the best we had back in 2003. I find this Game Boy to still be just as addicting as it was back then. I find myself, whenever I take this thing out of the drawer to do something like this video, that I've been playing Super Mario for about 45 minutes now. So yeah, it is still a very fun little console to have here. So how has this thing held up over time? Well, I was a kid when I had this console, so there are a little bit of scratches and maybe a ding or a dent from dropping the device, but it is held up very, very well. It is a hard plastic material. And then the only other thing I noticed with it is a little bit dirty, kind of where the screen was shut. It's kind of dirty in there. But other than that, I mean, I'd say this thing is held up really, really well. If you just give it a good cleaning, I think it'll look almost brand new. For some reason, the top of the device, when it's shut here, it does have a lot of scratching going on in here. Also, I think the hinge on this device has kind of gotten a little bit loose over time, but that's probably typical. It's not like it's going to fall down on you while you're gaming, but it is definitely easy to move the screen up and down. So the hinge has gotten a little weaker. Now, I kind of already answered this question here. Can you still use a Game Boy Advance SP today? Absolutely. This is still a fun console to play. It's nice to kind of get some of those old Game Boy games out and be able to play them here on this console. The battery life is still excellent on this thing. It'll last absolutely forever. And even when the orange battery light comes on, it'll still last a long time as well. To give you an idea of how crazy the battery life really is, I've had this thing sitting in my drawer for several years now, and when I took it out to make this video, it turned on. So it's pretty incredible. And the Nintendo DS did the same thing as well. It's been sitting in there for several years and it turned on too. So I've never replaced the battery in this device or anything. So nothing has ever been replaced, and this thing is still rock solid. Very well built product. And even today, you see online, talking about using this today, you can still buy these all over the place. I've seen some used ones on Amazon. There's stuff on eBay. So you can still find one of these, but you're going to pay kind of a good amount for one, I think, personally. These came out apparently for about $100 in 2003. I don't know what that's adjusted for inflation, but I imagine it'd be another $100 or so maybe for this device. And you can find a bunch. It seems like the going price on eBay that I've noticed is about $70 for a Game Boy Advance SP. So not too far off their original price, which is pretty cool, I would say. Alright guys, that's all I got for you today in this video. Let me know if you have a Game Boy in your collection and what your favorite Game Boy is in the comments, or I should say Game Boy game or Game Boy, whichever one you tell me. Let me know what your favorite is in the comments down below. But anyways guys, that's all I got for you today. Thank you for watching the video as always, and I will catch you on the next one.